Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon.
Good
And
afternoon.
as we say here at Harris Stowe, it is always a great day to be a Hornet. We're truly excited to be here this afternoon. Thank you, Mr. Secretary,
Of
for being
course.
here with us.
Of course.
Mr. Undersecretary, thank you. Congresswoman Bush, Mayor Jones, thank you so much for being here this afternoon for a conversation with our secretary. We're so excited to have you here. And we want to welcome you to Hornet Nation, where we have some of the best scholars in the nation. So thank you so much for being here.
Of course. Thank you.
Just trying to find. Is this thing working? There we go. Hi, good morning, everyone. I also want to echo the president's comments and welcome the Secretary of Education to the city of St. Louis and also to Harris Stowe State University, one of our flagship HBCU. And as a fellow HBCU grad, I went to Hampton University. I am just super excited of all of the work the Department of Education is doing for higher education, especially HBCUs, because they train some of our country's top talent. And if it not have been for HBCUs, a lot of times our students wouldn't have the opportunity to succeed. So again, just want to welcome you and thank you for all you do for higher education, especially HBCUs.
Good afternoon, everyone. For most of you, I am your Congresswoman, Cori Bush, representing St. Louis proudly in the United States Congress. Um, and just want to say, first of all, thank you to Harris Stowe for allowing us in and to be able to come together to have this conversation. To President Colin Smith, your remarkable work and you and your team. You have a fabulous team as well. To all the staff, thank you, the educators, everyone here. To our wonderful mayor, thank you for being here too, and to our students who are up here on the panel. And we're just so excited to have Secretary Cardona here with us and Undersecretary Caval here. That the investment for them to be here today, I just want to make sure that it is clear that this is a huge investment, that they took the time out to make St. Louis a priority. And not only St. Louis, this our district in St. Louis a priority. And so we just honor you and we thank you for that. And we thank you for showing us where your values are and your understanding of really, really fighting and doing the work for those who really have the greatest need, and then helping to see us thrive. So just want to say thank you to you. And I will pass it on to Undersecretary James Caval.
Thank you, Ms. Bush. And I just want to say how thrilled I am to be here in St. Louis. It's a beautiful city. Had some great barbecue last night. I work on higher education and student aid at the department, which means we're working really hard on the problem of student debt, which we know is an issue not just for 43 million families, but also borrowers, but also their families, their communities, and it's an issue for our economy as a whole. The other issue under the Secretary's leadership is focusing on building an inclusive higher education system. And there are a few institutions that our country has that has as much potential as our colleges and universities as a force for greater social mobility, greater equity, and really solving all of the problems that our country has. And in order to take advantage of that potential, we need to invest in places like HBCUs and other institutions that are really committed to serving their communities and creating opportunity. So it's a delight to do this work under the leadership of my boss, Secretary Cardona.
Thank you very much, James. And I want to thank the Congresswoman for the invitation, for hanging with me. This is our second stop together. We were on the bus a little while ago. We even did a little selfie video. I felt fortunate. I got to be on one of her videos. You're fortunate to have her. You're fortunate to have her. We were at a middle school a little while ago talking about mental health. We're here today at HBCU talking about the importance of HBCUs, and she's fighting. She's fighting in DC. It's not easy, but man, just engaging with her and knowing how much she loves this community and how much she's fighting for it. It's an honor to be with you.
Thank you.
And Mayor, thank you for being here. Thank you for your leadership, your passion, and for your presence today. It means a lot. Madam President, thank you. What you're doing and what you've done to support students is why we're here. We want to lift up what you're doing. And, we talk a lot about raising the bar and leading the world. Well, folks learn best by seeing others that do it, have done it, and you're walking the walk. So thank you for your leadership. James over here, the undersecretary, is very modest. He is fighting for debt relief daily. He is fighting for public service loan forgiveness. He is fighting to make sure that our HBCUs have the funding that they need and they deserve. Because when we think about HBCUs, we know they punch above their weight. We know that 80% of our judges, our black judges, come from HBCUs.
Yes, they do.
We know that 50% of our black Congress folks come from HBCUs. 50% of our black dentists come from HBCUs. 100% of our black vice presidents come from. You see what I'm saying? So when we talk about raising the bar, leading the world in higher education, that means fixing a broken student loan system and investing in inclusive student success. This is our strategy. People could talk a lot about education, closing doors, shutting it down, this or that. This is our plan. And when we talk about inclusivity and leveling the playing field, supporting HBCUs is critical. The president and the vice president didn't waste any time when they came in. With the American Rescue Plan, they provided $40 billion with a B for higher education institutions to make sure they don't close down, to make sure that our students stay whole, that we could keep our students, because we recognize that we needed to make sure that our students continued with their learning. It was disrupted, but it shouldn't have ended, and the president and vice president saw to it that it didn't. And that's why we're here. You've met us, so Angelique, Benjamin, Jordan, Jemiah. Now it's our turn to listen to you. Okay, so please don't be intimidated by the 150 cameras and other, you know what I mean? Let's just have some real talk about what it means to you. I have a series of questions, but I'd love to hear from all of you. We don't have a lot of time. We only have about 20 minutes. But I want to hear how they're called HERF dollars, American Rescue Plan dollars, basically the federal financial relief dollars that were used and how they benefited students. Because to me, we could talk about billions all we want, but if we don't put faces to the dollars and what it means for the future of our country, by highlighting what it meant for you, then we're missing an opportunity. So who here would not have been able to continue the education without student balances being forgiven through HERF? Yeah? Okay, I see a hand over there. Good. Anybody around the table? Yeah? Okay. When you learned that you were going to be receiving some support from the federal HERF dollars, the student aid dollars, how did that make you feel? Yeah, please.
Okay, really quick, my name is Jordan Ross. I'm a senior accounting major here at Harris-Stowe State University. I transferred in from Morehouse College, and I'm originally from LA, and I was raised here in St. Louis. So in regards to, again, what was your question? I'm sorry.
So how did you feel when you found out that you were going to get some aid that was going to help keep you in school?
Oh, it was great. I'm going to start with this. So at Morehouse, we had the CARES Act, right? But here at Harris-Stowe, it's referred to as the HERF funds. And I was, how can I say, delighted to hear when it came to Harris-Stowe, because I've been on both sides of the coin. I've attended Morehouse College, a private institution, around, I'm modest when I say $40,000 a year, you know. This was 2019, 2020. And I come from a family where my mom had to take out a loan, second mortgage type deal, you know. And then I transferred here to Harris-Stowe during COVID to make sure that my mother was supported. And once I heard that we were actually going to have some type of COVID relief, it was a peace of mind, because the whole reason why I came here was because I could no longer afford to go to a $40,000 a year school. And it was able to give me a peace of mind, for one, but for two, it allowed me to be able to make technological advances with my schooling. So instead of me using the Dell, I was able to navigate to a Mac laptop instead of using the computer my grandma had, you know, things such as that. But on even a deeper level, for me, it was just technology because I came here with scholarships. But for my brothers and sisters, it was more of a debt relief thing, which, because I worked in the financial aid office when I first transferred here. So I had, my hands were on the documents and I was able to see student balances. And I know for a fact that a lot of balances were paid off because if you have a balance over $500, you can't enroll in classes. But with these HERA funds, a lot of balances were paid off, and we were able to, see an increased student activity, I guess you could say,
Gotcha.
so far as classes go.
What do you think that means? Thank you for jumping in. What do you think that means for the other students?
Man, because peace of mind is one thing, but financial relief is a whole different ball game. So I think that it was a major impact. Me personally, I don't student government, which is very important, and there is no but to that. There's a period after that. I do not do student government. I do philanthropy. I do grant writing. I do scholarships. I do suit drives, toy drives, and to be able to see because I refer this is my family. So when I say brothers and sisters, I mean that wholeheartedly. To see my brothers and sisters be able to walk in, and I'm in the financial aid office, and they say, "Oh my God, my tuition's been paid off," or "Oh my God, we finally got to," and to know that because I'm seeing everything as it's going on, being kind of close to administration, and to know that this is coming, just to see it's opportunity. It's more than just money. I've learned that with me being an accounting major, and I'll be working at the Federal Reserve because of my education here at Stowe, starting in January. Let's clap it up, man. Yeah, not up for that. But understanding monetary policy and things of that nature, to see our students be able to be in a situation where they don't have to stress, because again, Harris Stowe is the most affordable HBCU. For sure. And so, but then you have to think about that. If you're at the most affordable HBCU and we're still having financial issues, that just goes to show the not only social but the socioeconomic climate of the area. So HERF funds did a lot to impact not only financially but it was a mental aspect as well.
That's positive. And what it does for the community, right? Because they're continuing their education, and for families. You mentioned, the parents who are also struggling to have that relief. Thank you for sharing that. I'd love to hear from others.
Hello, my name is Caitlin Williams. I'm a junior at Harris State University. I'm a criminal justice major with a minor in juvenile justice. With a minor in juvenile justice, I am an aspiring attorney that's also studying for the LSAT right now.
Good for you.
For me, my journey is a little bit different. I'm a non-traditional student, so I have a husband at home. I have 2 kids at home while being a full-time student and a full-time employee. So a lot of the times that's helping my husband out who's has that burden of allowing me to invest in myself, to go back to school and get that higher education. So a lot of the times some of our other students, as you say, our sisters and brothers that live on campus, they don't have to worry about Wi-Fi. They have to worry about housing, but in a different aspect. For a lot of our non-traditional students, our commuter students, we have to pay for our Wi-Fi bill. We have to pay for rent. We have other responsibilities up under our belt other than just being a full-time student. So that was able to, as you state, peace and relief.
Right. Yeah, good. Thank you very much. Again, another example of where a family is impacted by it, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Benjamin or Jemiah?
Hello. I am Jemiah, a junior here at Harris Stowe, but I'm a little different because I'm class of 2022, so I just graduated high school. I'm one of the babies. But with coming to Harris Stowe, I graduated high school with a lot of college credits, and I've been taking 18 credit hours. And then even with the HERF funds, I was allowed to take the tuition-free 6 credits this past summer to roll over and take another class or take 18 credit hours again this fall. But with the HERF fund, I'm one of those people where I don't like to ask my parents for stuff, so I'm very independent. So with that funding, I've been able to give myself peace of mind because I don't have to ask my mom, oh, can you do this? Can you do that? She can focus on the other 4 kids that she has at home because I'm technically the oldest. So as the oldest, you have, I wouldn't say a burden, but like you have this desire that you have to take care of everybody and everything. So with the HER Fund, it's allowed me to take care of myself and
Yeah.
not have to worry about anybody else because I'm from Kansas City, so I'm 3.5 hours away. So I don't get the ability to, oh, mom, can you do this? Or I need someone to do this for me immediately. I can just worry about myself instead of having to worry about other people.
And it gives your mom the opportunity to focus more on the others.
Oh,
Again,
yes.
the benefit for the entire family. So it's not just you that's benefiting from it, it's your siblings, because now they're gonna have more attention. Thank you, Jemiah. Benjamin?
I'm Benjamin Derry. I'm a secondary education major from Kansas City as well. The HER Fund really just means a lot to me because it gives me a spare moment to actually relax, not stress over finance wise, because I am also a commuter 4 hours away from home.
Wow.
So I don't feel like as the person I am, I want to ask my parents like, hey,
Yeah.
I need a little check to cut me out of what I'm in. Plus, with the HERF, it also helps me save the money for once I get my degree, hopefully this year. If not, I'll be next fall. But it lets me save the money, have it grow. So when I do get out, it helps me right away with my student loans. And I don't have to worry my whole life coming out of loan. That's also one reason why I chose Stowe, because my coach told me it's the easiest way to get out. You're not going to go to, I'll just say MOBAP, where you're paying $40K a year for 4 years, maybe 5. That's around 160, 200K. So after college, get my next job, and it's just a nice little debt-free life where you can just start earning and do as you want and not have to worry about any debt on your name.
Yeah, great. Well, you're going into the teaching profession, which we need more educators. And before you leave, if you do have student loans, learn about our public service loan forgiveness program. Because we recognize when people go into public service, they're not doing it to become millionaires. They're doing it to make their community better. So we got your back in that way too. So take a look at that. So thank you very much, Benjamin, and all of you for sharing how the HERF dollars, the federal dollars, help give you peace of mind, give your families peace of mind. Talk to me a little bit more about Harris Stowe State University and what they've done to make this a welcoming environment, an environment where you can thrive and succeed.
I know for me, as I stated, I'm the commuter student representative within our Student Government Association. That is a new role that I think the university saw that it needed to get some more of our students on campus. This is my first actually semester getting involved on campus, and it's only been a few short 3 to 4 months, and I'm already immersed in my sister and brothers, other intellects with the other core values that I have, so I love it. Also, with the HER Fund that we received, we're able to have a better library. I know for us, we really didn't have a place for commuter students, non-traditional students to
Right.
come to study. So once that library opens, we're going to have a space where we can come together and feel like we're just not stranded at home. What if we want to get involved on campus, as if I did? And I had a little bit of a trouble, but I see that this president that we have now is making sure that all, and when I say all, students are looked out for.
That's nice. Leadership matters. Others?
Okay, I think I might be the only one here that lives on campus, right? I'm the only one? Okay, so I'm the only one that lives on campus, and I have the ability, I'm very involved on campus, from me working with the athletic department and then working with housing, and I've worked with housing for the past year, so I've seen the updates firsthand that have been done to the actual dormitory and the living, because we have 2 dorms. We have Bosley, which is basically freshman dorms, and then we have Gillespie. I always call it G Hall because I can never actually pronounce it. But we have G Hall, and now in G Hall we have the meditation room, and then they're finna finish the boutique that's in the back of G Hall. And these are just updates that allow people to basically feel at home.
Right.
And we have the game room that's being updated. It's a physical aspects of campus that are being changed so that we can see, okay, they're striving to make sure that we feel comfortable in a space that's away from home, because a lot of our students, yes, we're in the heart of St. Louis, so we have a lot of people from St. Louis, but we have Memphis, Kansas City, Detroit, all over. So it can be mentally detrimental
Sure.
to not be home. So, or these are people who have never been away from their
Right.
parents and stuff in their life. So just getting a taste of home to, okay, yeah, everybody's going to be in the game room, or everybody's going to be in the quad. Everybody's listening to music, enjoying life in the quad, and just spending time together is one. So these upgrades that we have to the physical institution
Right.
gives students a space to feel like a family, because that's literally what Hair Stowe is. It's a giant family.
Yeah. You know, you graduated in 22, so you may not know this, but the air conditioning was fixed in this building too, right? You want to talk a little bit about that, President?
So I was sharing with the secretary some of the modifications
Yeah.
that we've actually made here using the HERF funds. One of them, our students spoke about in our library. Our library renovations is actually happening right now with our HVAC system. And so some of the HERF dollars was used for that. And we're hoping to have it open, right, Dr. Finley, in January. And so even in this building, you know,
Yeah.
when COVID hit, that meant a lot of modifications. And a lot of times, most of that was talking about the HVAC system and the recycling of the air and those type of things. And I think it wouldn't be surprising if you saw students walking around right now with blankets because they complain about how cold it is.
Yeah.
But you know, that's a sure sign of some of the assistance that we've received, and so we're truly grateful for all of the work, the hard work that has happened in DC in order to make those things possible for our students.
I always say it's good to put a face to the policy changes, right? So let me give you a little backstory on that. When the HERF dollars went out, we heard from HBCUs who said, look, our institutions have, the infrastructure, we haven't invested in infrastructure in many years. There's some deferred maintenance because we're trying to support students, and, the infrastructure didn't get the attention it needed. Could you make some flexibility in how we use the dollars? Right, James? That's right. We heard that. So, and initially it was like, well, we can't really do that because the money's intended for this or that. But we kept hearing from HBCUs, let us make some infrastructure changes so that we can keep our kids here. We can keep our students here. And we continued to hear that, and we fought for it. And James helped lead that work to make sure that we allowed for that flexibility so those dollars could be used so you can make this more inviting to keep the students here. So I love hearing you're saying now you're going to have a place where you can be as a commuter, where the air conditioning is being fixed so that students feel more comfortable. That's a direct result of HBCU speaking up and us listening. Yeah, that's great. So I know there are a couple others that maybe haven't spoken on this topic. Yeah.
So we're speaking about infrastructure, which is right up my alley. I think I have a few talking points I want to hit on. So when I first transferred in 2020, I was the only student that was on campus. So I lived off campus, but I wanted to ensure that I had some type of connection to my network here on campus. So my mom said, what are you going to do? I said, well, I'm going to see if they have work study jobs available, even though I'll be the only student on campus. So I went down to my financial aid office, and I asked them if they had any jobs available. And they said, are you sure? And I said, yes, I'm sure. And so I worked in the financial aid office for about 2 years. And while being there, I was able to understand so much as like our STEM program, which is actually being built, which is actually an entire building. Am I correct? Right. So, and we're talking about infrastructure, that being the STEM program or STEM building being added to Harris Stowe, that provides opportunity. That is able to broaden out the ranges. And we've also been talking about our domestic students, but we also have a nice, well, when I say nice, that is equivalent to a sizable international students, which I feel as if they should be represented as well. And these are points that, because again, this all comes down to resources, right? And that's important. If we have more opportunities available for students to actually engage on campus, that not only allows for the current students to have opportunities, but that allows for us to have maybe an increased enrollment rate.
Right.
Or, more students are attracted to come because we have more opportunities that are available. Like on my list of schools, there are certain schools I didn't go to because they didn't offer the programs that I want or I desired. But as we're able to expand our reach, that's great. And also just sanitization wise, when I was here in 2020 and I was the only one on campus, only with the administration, we used to have a young man who used to walk around with mask on, and he would wipe down the rails. I mean, that was his only job, and he was doing that 8 hours straight. There was no breaks. 8 hours straight, and then we had our little iPads that were not necessarily iPads, but tablets that would be up to read our face. And also, the HERF funds allowed students to have funding because the temperature takers, when we were first getting out of COVID, I guess you could say, they were allotted federal jobs, which was money that was directly from the HERF funds. So, opportunity just it provided a lot.
That's amazing. You know, the infrastructure dollars that you're talking about to help make that lab. The way we look at it is we want to make sure our HBCUs can also compete for the contracts. You can't do that if you don't have labs. If you don't have the equipment to compete for research grants and things like that, it also lessens the attractiveness, right? So I love your perspective on it. And what I've heard from college presidents is, you know, if our infrastructure's up, we have the labs, we can also compete for those contracts that bring in dollars. So appreciate that. Ben, did you want to share anything on this?
I just think Stowe offers a lot. As long as you keep an open mind, you're going to find your clique.
Yeah.
With me being an athlete, I know I find a lot of us around here. It's just we all find that one time, either if it's either in the training room or weight room or at each other's games, we all just find that moment of click. Stowe's just, for a lot of the JUCO kids, it's a second chance for us.
Yeah.
It feels very opening to know how much Stowe has our backs, coming from our teachers, our faculties, to other classmates. It's just another relief off the shoulder.
Yeah.
One less thing to worry about here.
It's like a family, right?
Yes, sir.
That's awesome. Good to see that. So I want to have our folks that were listening kind of debrief what they've heard. But before we do that, because I'm getting the 5-minute cue already. So we're going back to D.C., the three of us are, and we're going to be working on policy. We're going to be continuing not only to support HERF dollars being used the right way, but just thinking about HBCUs in general and thinking about higher education in general. So this is your chance to give us, in about 30 seconds, what do you want us to take away from your experience, or what do you want us to know so that when we go back to DC, we can remember that when we're thinking about policy and practice? Let me start with you.
I know for me, just letting the people know that are there that their dollars are working. You have physical proof from all my sisters and brothers that it is working. I know one thing that I would like to see altered or changed in the policy is the graduate impact. I do believe when we're talking about higher education, a lot of the times we stop at our bachelor's. As a lot of you know, the bachelor's is the new high school diploma. At this point, it really is. So a lot of the times, a lot of people that stop at, their bachelor's, we're not facilitating that journey after HBCUs to also graduate schools, because I believe that a lot of those times people that are going to graduate schools that are coming from HBCUs, they become those CEOs that also understand the importance of diversity, but they also had a pathway or were able to, get a higher education that didn't just stop at a bachelor's. So I would definitely like to see more of a graduate impact or a postgraduate impact.
Great. Thank you. Benjamin?
I just say it very much means the world to a lot of us students, knowing that it's easier for us to pay off a debt that even if we don't have a scholarship or athletics paying for us to be here, it helps just knowing the fact that we have some type of show to us, that this degree isn't just to make mom, dad, grandma happy that we went to a college. It's just another push for us to prove ourselves better to each other and to us in general.
Thanks, man. Jordan?
I would say, you go back to DC, just have this on your heart. Resources equal opportunities, and opportunities a lot for more resources. and also, and just in pertains to St. Louis, man, and because I can't speak for every HBCU. Hampton, Morehouse, Howard, they're a lot different than Harris Stowe, especially just in our surrounding areas. Being able to provide opportunities where there is a disparity of hope sometimes can do a lot beyond just the financials, but also just the mental well-being of a community. If you know that when I graduate high school, I know that there is a university right down the street because my family can't afford to send me out the state. I can go right down the street and get a quality education because of the funds that were allotted to my university. Yes, that gives peace of mind, but that also provides a pipeline to reinforce students not leaving St. Louis. Because I was one of those students who left because I thought that there wasn't any opportunity. But then once I came back to Harris Stowe and I was able to see the opportunity was there because the resources have been allotted to the school, it's great. So that's it.
Thank you.
Okay, so what I want you to take back is honestly a big thank you from literally everyone, but because what is allowed and what is given, one of our logo or our motto is potential, possibility, and power. What is offered to Harris Stowe literally gives our graduates and students possibility to do whatever they want to be in life in general, or whatever they believe that they feel like is going to make them happy for the rest of their lives. So it just gives them to the potential and the desire to do what they want. Like, it takes off a chip of their shoulder so that they don't have to think, or oh, I don't have to think about, I don't have to pay for this, or it's already getting paid because I have these funds, or the opportunities that Harris Stowe has given us allows me to be free and not have as much of a saddening thought within us, you know. So really, thank you.
Yeah, no, this is a closing moment. So, Mayor, I was going to come to you next.
So I also want to echo the thanks and gratitude for fixing the public service loan forgiveness program. The city employs about 5,000. We have about 5,000 employees. And when I was treasurer before I became mayor, I held classes. We created an Office of Financial Empowerment. And one of our most popular classes was how to access the program. And it's still one of our most popular classes. So we make sure that our first responders, our police officers, our secretaries, clerks, everybody knows about the program and how to apply. And so I want to thank you for taking some of the barriers away for people accessing that program.
Thank you for that. Thank you. And, I know James and there are other folks from our higher education team here. They've been working really hard to fix a broken system. And that's what it is. We're fixing a broken system. So I appreciate that acknowledgement.
Here, I'd just
Madam
like to
President?
say two things. One, I want to publicly thank James for the fight for public service loan forgiveness. I'm not sure if you are familiar with the Facebook page, but there is actually a Facebook page for public service loan forgiveness, and there's someone who started it who actually educates people about how to process paperwork and all of that. And I like to speak personally about that as someone who have worked in public service all of my life. It is a game changer. It has done remarkable things for a lot of people that I know, including me personally. And honestly, to receive an email to say, and a letter that says congratulations, it's priceless. And so I still walk around every day like, okay, when are they gonna ask me for this money? This is really true. But I wanna publicly thank you for myself and on behalf of all who have been impacted by the public service loan debt forgiveness, because it is really, truly amazing. And it has really been game changing and impact a lot of lives. People, you hear stories if you ever tune in on Facebook and people are talking about this debt that they have carried for years and they never saw a way out, but how they're able now to do more things for themselves and for their families. It is amazing. And on behalf of Harris Stowe, I want you to take back infrastructure dollars, because HBCUs are powerful places, as you all know. And I can speak for Harris Stowe, where we pride ourselves on providing affordable, accessible, and a diverse education for students who are under-resourced, underserved, and oftentimes underprepared. But that doesn't stop us from being that family and helping them to get to and through the finish line. And so if you can take that back, infrastructure, we would greatly appreciate it. So thank you so much.
James, and I don't usually do this, but I'm gonna ask James to flex a little bit on the numbers, because that public service loan forgiveness shift that he's led is significant. Where were we and where are we?
Well, I want to say thank you both to Dr. Colin Smith and to Mayor Jones for paying attention to this program. One of the things that we saw when Secretary Cardona started is only 7,000 people had ever gotten public service loan forgiveness. And people plan their careers around this program. And people, but they didn't know they had the wrong type of loan, they were in the wrong retainment plan. It was just an incredibly complicated bureaucracy. So we've been able to cut through a lot of that. We've got it up now to over 660,000 people who've gotten public service loan forgiveness, and we can't do it alone. So your efforts to get the word out, help people understand how important this program is. And we do have another one. The Secretary finalized a couple of weeks ago a new repayment plan called the SAVE Plan. And under the SAVE Plan, your monthly payments are based upon how much you earn. So you don't owe anything if you earn less than about $15 an hour, or more if you have a family to support. And that's because we don't think student loan payments should come before necessities. And if you're a new teacher starting out, for example, it will cut your payments by 2/3 until you earn forgiveness under the public service loan forgiveness program. So they work together very, very well, and it's really important for us to get the word out. We're really excited. In just a few weeks, we've got up to 4 million people in the SAVE plan, but there's still a lot of people out there who could save a lot of money by enrolling.
Yeah. He wouldn't say it if I didn't push him, and you know, he always gives credit. Oh, the secretary. He's been grinding on this he's been thinking about this for more than just this administration. He's been pushing for this, and I just want to soak it in, man. These are the faces of the people you're helping. Thank you for what you do. Thank you for your leadership. Representative.
Yes. Let me just start by I was thinking as all of you students, scholars were speaking, the moment that you have right now and how amazing it is that you were able to grab a hold of what was in front of you. These dollars are here. I'm able to go ahead and go to school. I see where they're coming from. Because there are so many that did not have and do not have that opportunity or don't realize it's still kind of far from them. But being able to be here at Harris Stowe, it almost choked me up a little bit, because I remember when I was a Harris Stowe student many years ago. And I think about when I was here and I was excelling. I was so happy to be here. I'm like, Dad, I'm on the dean's list and I'm doing this. I was just so excited to be here. But my dad took money out of, I think maybe his 401k or something, to send me here because we couldn't get the loan. It was just too much because they said both my parents, they were still married and they made too much. So I decided I didn't want to burden my dad again another semester after semester. And so I left and I went to work, and I worked a job for 10 years, early childhood, but I worked a job. I was here for early childhood, but I went and worked a job for 10 years. And when I left that job, I was making $9.50 an hour after 10 years. Had I been able to stay here at Harris Stowe, had I had a HERF, had there been other resources, my life, the trajectory of my life could have been totally different. Instead, I ended up becoming a nurse years later and then walking through all of the debt with that. You all, your life is different. Our work in our office we start by doing the most for St. Louis, starting with those who have the greatest need. And then after that, after we do the work to save your life, then it's about not only making sure that you survive St. Louis, you got to thrive. So this is about thriving, and you are able to thrive because of the work of Harris Stowe State University, because of the work that the staff are doing, the administration, because of the work that the Biden-Harris administration has put forth, and this amazing work of this team that we have here today from the secretary and undersecretary and all of the work of your teams. We understand that you all don't work alone. alone. But thank you for seeing our students. Thank you for seeing our students. And I'm not just saying that because you're here. Like, thank you for seeing our students, because I know what happens when people don't see us. I know what happens when there's not an investment. I sat at another HBCU. They said, Corey, would you come to our campus? I went to this, not St. Louis, not in St. Louis. I went to this campus, and the students were on the campus in tents. They said, we have to live in tents because of the mold. Now no change has happened. Now money has started to flow out. This was a few years ago. That is the difference, because those students were having trouble learning because they didn't have a place. They didn't have, their dorms needed work. Money was able to be funneled right here into this school for dorms and the library and so much more. I remember one day I came here, I'm about to shut up, but one day I came here and I was walking with Dr. Collins Smith, and she said, look at the floor. And I was like, yes, because this is not the floor we had when I was here as a student. It was a different floor. And so much is different here now. And so I applaud you for the work. I applaud the vision and the value that this administration has put into HBCUs. We must invest in HBCUs because HBCUs turn out people like me, people like us, and the Black excellence that comes out of HBCUs is needed and necessary, because when you can see it, you can be it. And we can even go beyond that. If I saw it, I can be it, but I can also do even greater than that. And so somewhere in here might be the next congresswoman or congressman. Somewhere in here might be the next president or the secretary. They might be coming for your job.
That's right.
And, but I want to say thank you again for being here.
Thank you very much. That was well said. I mean, who better than you to talk about what it means for this generation and what it would have meant before. When you were talking, I'm thinking by replacing the floor, you're creating a new ceiling because kids are believing in themselves. They see this institution as a place of pride. So thank you for, as I said before, the dollars might be there, but we need leaders that understand how to keep our students connected and have a vision for how to raise the bar, which is what we're talking about. Thank you for sharing your story. I said before, it's always great to put faces to the policies that we're working on. We took a lot, we heard a lot, we learned a lot. We're going to continue fighting for you. Yeah. And I say the word fight because for every corner we take, we're getting sued and people are trying to stop us. But we realize what we're doing. And it's not only you, Jemiah. It's your siblings now that could benefit from the parents' attention, right? It's St. Louis saying, oh, wait, we have an option here. It's hope, right? And it's your family, too. And, your kids, and being able to see that you could do this, and, your spouse, you coming together. That's what higher education access should be. We're fixing a broken system and we're providing inclusive opportunity. You're the face of that. And you feeling a sense of family here. And an opportunity now to go serve as a teacher because of your experience here. This is an investment in America. This is an investment in America. And I want to just give a acknowledgement. In our staff, we have graduates of HBCUs. So anyone from the Department of Education who graduated from HBCU, please stand or raise your hand. Yeah. We got three in the room right here. Not only do we talk the talk, we walk the walk. We want that perspective at the Department of Education, and they make us better without question. So there's really not much more to say because I think we all feel what we want to say. The emergency relief dollars were intended to keep you in school, focusing on your learning, opening up doors for your future. And I want to just kind of close out by saying your leadership in DC is why this is happening too. Her support of the bipartisan Safer Communities dollars, $2 billion for mental health support, helped those middle schoolers that I just talked to. Her support for the HERF dollars, unwavering support for the HERF dollars, is why students like you are able to continue with your education. It matters. It matters. So know that it's not universal. It's not universal. don't take it for granted. We're fighting for it, and you need to also be informed as leaders to make sure that the next generation of students, those second graders and third graders right now that say, I can't go to college, my parents can't afford that. Yes, they can. It's on us. We're honored to be able to serve at this time, right, James? Where we know coming out of a pandemic, we have to raise the bar, and that's what we're doing. Thank you for sharing your stories. Thank you for your time. I appreciate your presence, and I wish you continued success. Thanks.